Hey, Stephanie here. I have something really fun and different that I want to talk to you about. My brother turned me on to Carlo Rovelli, who, if you see at the bottom this quote about him, physics has found its poet. Carlo Rovelli is a physicist and he has written a number of books. I am starting with The Order of Time, I'm about halfway through. And there's so many insights in here, and it's one of those things that I'm going to have to read multiple times to really be able to absorb all the insights. But there's one in particular that I want to share with you that has really struck me, and it's something I've been thinking about for weeks since I read this portion of the book. He talks about how Plato and some of Plato's followers, physicists, were enamored with the idea of finding the five base structures that make up all of reality. And those shapes, let's see if I can find it because the visual is very helpful. The shapes are basically representative of Earth. They're right here. These five basic structures or shapes that make up all of reality that then became represented in language as air, earth, fire, wind, water. And, that as the chakras have been so helpful for me and the elements are associated with the chakras, I, of course, was enamored with this right away because I know less about the history of physics and Plato and where this idea came from of the elements informing all of reality. But it's something that it's an idea that is attractive to me as well. And Carlo Rovelli says this is a mistake that's easy to make because it's so tempting to want to say, oh yes, like these structures are the building blocks of reality, and I can see how they make up everything in reality. And for a number of reasons that go over my head and that maybe go beyond the scope of this video, he talks about how when we try to break things up into what is the smallest physical structure that makes up this molecule and then this atom, that actually the physical structures change as we observe them. So it's a little bit of a mind warp of matter not being the solid base of reality that we think it is. And so he goes on to say that Plato shouldn't actually have been studying the physical structures that make everything up, but their movements. But their movements. And a song, when I was really into swing dancing, you know the song, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. And that phrase, that it's how you do things or the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I I want to I want to take this idea and extrapolate it and apply it to your everyday life, that it's not the what, it's the how. How are things moving? It's less about what is that physical structure, what is that point in time where I can say I have arrived. We know life doesn't really work like that. Life is movement and change and flow. And so even our understanding of physics, as very smart physicists have continued to build on each other and then see their own mistakes and see how that informs the collective consciousness and collective understanding of what life is, we're at a point now of thinking about life in terms of physical structures or physical milestones that make up the whole is a misguided understanding that really we need to be looking at how things move. So applying that to our own lives is like, how do you move through emotions? How do you treat people? How do you approach the day? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? How do you intend to start your day? That those sorts of things may end up being the the signature of your life more so than the what accomplishment you had. And that allows for a different level of empowerment and a different level of intention of how you want to live, where it's less about, I want to have this title, I want to make this much money, I want to have this thing that's my legacy. What if it's how you live that's your legacy? Practices like waking up in the morning and feeling like, I am so grateful for the breath in my lungs and for another day. How am I going to approach today? So that's a little tidbit. Let's talk more about it. I'm at the beginning of my understanding of any of these concepts. So I am ready to learn. I am ready to keep expanding my mind, and I want to hear from you of how you interpret this and what you think about these ideas. Cheers, everybody.